Hey guys, it's Doge here, and today I'm going to be looking at the PK Control 1. I bought this pad from the official PK Gamer store on AliExpress. You can also get it there. And I got it in white in 450 by 400 millimeters. So with that being said, let's take a look at this pad. As far as the surface goes, unfortunately, it isn't clearly stated in the description of the product what the surface consists of, but it does seem to be a nice quality, and I will show a macro shot. It's definitely a control pad. The glide is nice, and I don't see myself struggling or tugging too much when I'm moving the mouse, and neither do I when making micro adjustments, but there is definitely a good amount of stopping power, so that's very consistent of a control pad. The surface is a very soft feeling out of the box, which I was pleasantly surprised on. It's definitely one of the more nice experience I've felt when it comes to surfaces. It's nice and smooth, but it still has a defined feel when you're rubbing your fingers along it. I don't have any humidity issues as per usual, so I can't say much on that topic. But when I do sweat, the pad does feel a little bit more grippy, so similar to the Tangdao Pioneer. There is a slight difference in the y-axis when I'm using an arm sleeve, so there is a little bit of pulling there and not so much on the x-axis, but it's not bad enough to the point where I would consider it impractical or anything of the sort. The base is made of a natural rubber, just straight, normal rubber. It doesn't have too much softness, but the grip is pretty good, pretty okay as far as normal rubber bases go, but yeah, there's nothing special about this base. There is no plush feeling when you're naturally resting your hand on the pad, but there is a slight give, which I'll show with this dice test. I really have to press in to get the plushness to show, so it's more of a mid pad than a soft pad. But that does give some quality because when you're pushing your mouse along it to get some more stopping power, there isn't any scratching, especially with my more typical scratching mouse, my Ippy Float. When I press down, I usually get some scratching on this. There isn't too much unless you push really hard on the pad, so that's definitely a nice quality of it being more of a mid pad. It hasn't gotten worse the first time, the base, since the first time. If anything, I feel like it's gotten more sticky, which is odd. But yeah, it doesn't move around when you're trying to push, and I'm literally shaking the camera trying to push this around, so there isn't too much moving there, but it doesn't peel off the desk by any means. So the quality is pretty nice. The stitching is a little bit odd. It's a nice stitching. It is very nice stitching, very consistent along the bottom and the top. But along these edges, there are these odd bits, almost like plastic that I sometimes, like here's one right here, that I have to like try and peel off. It's almost like during the heating process or whatever, some of the fabric burnt off and then hardened. It's not too bad. It's pretty easy to peel off, like I said. And there isn't too much of a scratchiness to it. But if you're not using an arm sleeve and you feel something like scratching you, it's probably one of those. Yeah, there's not too much of a raise to the stitching along the edges. It's pretty consistent, though there is a feeling when you're gliding your mouse over it. It's definitely not below the surface level of the pad. The surface isn't too hard to maintain. All the debris that I've had that has rested on top of it brushes off very easily. And probably one of the nicer parts of this pad, the logo is not like rubber or anything. I can't really get it to focus, but hold on. Yeah, it's not like rubber or anything. It's actually printed into the fabric, so there isn't a different feeling when you're gliding over it, which is really nice. Very nice for a $20 pad. Speaking of $20, is it worth it? Yeah, it came rolled up in a beat up box in a different bag. I don't have the box to show, but it's nothing like to gawk about really. It's just a box, and then there's this little bag that you put the pad in. It's definitely not the best, but for $20, I can't complain. It doesn't lay out completely flat though the first time. Unfortunately, I had to rest some weight on these corners for it to lay out flat, but it's nothing too bad. Again, it's $20. There is no coatings, and it feels pretty similar to when I first got it. Yeah, this pad is seriously amazing for the price. It feels like a $40 pad, especially the surface. The surface is an amazing experience. I have no complaints about the surface, except for like the slight drag and the sweat issues sometimes. Yeah, there's going to be a sale on AliExpress starting April 14th, so if anything, that would be a great time to pick it up. I know they're decreasing the price of these pads for that sale, so yeah, maybe pick one up then. It would seem like this pad focused on the surface more than the stitching, quality, or base. All of those qualities, though, which qualities as in like stitching and quality control, like laying out completely flat, those qualities scale much less compared to the surface, in my opinion. So this is definitely a great buy for anyone looking for a cheap, skin-friendly control pad. And yeah, I'm gonna have to try their speed pad at some point because I'm seriously impressed by the price to performance that this pad has to offer. So yeah, it's a pretty darn good pad. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.